Sitting as the focal point of Liurnia, Raya Lucaria is one of the most enchanting legacy dungeons in all the lands between. Throughout the Academy's multi-leveled layout, you'll find a large cast of foes, illusory walls, and some fantastic loot. Greetings fellow Tarnished, I'm StoneBear13. Join along as I show where to get every major item of interest in my Raya Lucaria Academy dungeon walkthrough. Now, in order to access the Academy, you'll need to enter through one of the two sealed entrances, located to the north and south. At the southern gate, past the enemies in Academy Gate Town, you'll find a grace, as well as a simple map on a corpse. This simple map will show you a rough location of the Academy Glintstone Key, which ends up being just north of the Temple Quarter site of Grace. This key will be guarded by Glintstone Dragon Smaragd, so it's up to you whether you choose to face off against them, or simply grab the key and hightail it. Either way, with key in hand, you can return to either seal to finally enter Raya Lucaria Academy. We have a few things to do before we take the lift up, so grab the Grace and hop on Torrent. Taking the path north beyond the seal, and carefully across the broken bridge, you'll find a golden seed waiting for you. Going back to the Grace, we'll head beyond the seal to the east, and down a path ridden with wolves. Sitting by a campfire, we'll find a merchant with some decent items for sale, with a stock containing the Fanged Imp Ashes, 3 Stone Sword Keys, a Lost Ashes of War, and a cookbook. Going beyond the merchant to the south, we'll reach a dead end. Perched up on the left of the gate will be a Bloodhound, and once defeated, you can take the Celestial Dew he was guarding. With this area looted, it's time to take the lift and make our way inside Raya Lucaria. Your first encounter here can be a bit rough. The pair of sorcerers atop the steps have chin-checked many Tarnished, so take your time and push into the Church of the Cuckoo. Here, you'll have some Marionettes and a sorcerer to deal with, so try to use the environment to your advantage. Once cleared, exit east, minding the potential Marionette that may not have fallen and joined your fight earlier, and take a left to find a site of grace. Exiting the church, we'll enter the graveyard, which has some very huggy, magic-draining corpse boys, and some angry doggos. Once you progress across the rope bridge, take a left, down the rocks, and follow the path up. Eliminate the pair of Marionettes, and resting at the edge, you'll find the Marionette Soldier Ashes. Dropping off the ledge, head south towards the crypt just before the lit torch. Behind it, drop down to find some praying putrid corpses. Defeat them to loot yourself a full set of Carian Knight armor. Following the path east, we can go up a ramp and drop back down into the graveyard. Head northeast, past the exit, and down the hill. About halfway down, we'll find a scarab that contains the Ash of War Spectral Lance. This Ash of War can be applied to spears, great spears, and halberds. Costing 9 FP per use, this enchants your weapon, throwing it at an enemy. This will deal some massive poise damage, and can be used to reliably stance break, or simply engage from afar. Exiting the graveyard, we'll head across the small bridge and up the steps. In the area ahead, an Alabaster Lord will spawn in, and defeating him will reward you with the sorcery Gravity Well. Requiring 17 intelligence and costing 12 FP per cast, this launches a single bolt of gravity at your target, pulling them towards you. The spell can be boosted by the Meteorite Staff, and is a solid sorcery for spell swords. Back at the bridge, you want to jump onto one of the rising platforms connected to the water wheel. Riding it all the way up, exit to the south, and enter the room ahead to find the Schoolhouse Classroom site of grace. From here, exit back to the water wheel and head to the western cliffside. Jump onto a platform and ride the wheel down. Face north as you descend, and about halfway down, you'll see a ledge to jump off to. Go left, and be prepared to deal with some Avionettes and putrid corpses playing possum. Once the area is clear, on the corpse near the headstones, you can loot the Avionette Soldier Ashes. Run back over to the cliff you jumped onto, and hop back onto the lift. This time, ride it all the way down to the bottom. Here, you'll face an Iron Virgin. If you've progressed Patch's quest, he will mention this Iron Virgin as having its transpositional magic still intact. While getting pulled inside definitely does not take you to the base of the Erd Tree, if you are killed by the grab attack, you will respawn at Volcano Manor. However, that's a story for another video. Defeat the Iron Virgin, and resting at the base of the crystals to the east is the Longtail Cat Talisman. This talisman will only negate damage taken from falling. If you are to fall to your death, this talisman will do nothing, and considering the numbers for how fall damage is calculated, this talisman is very poor. Before we head back up, go to the west and climb the crystals on the right. Resting against the crypt will be a Lost Ashes of War. With the graveyard and water wheel area cleared out, we can head back up to the schoolhouse classroom site of grace. Exiting the classroom, we'll first go to the left to find a corpse holding the Conspectus scroll. This scroll, when taken to a sorcery trainer, will allow you to learn Glintstone Cometshard and Star Shower. Glintstone Cometshard will require 36 intelligence and cost 17 FP per cast. This chargeable sorcery is boosted by Azur's Glintstone Crown and can be chain cast as well as cast in motion. This spell deals very solid damage and has a damage component to the trail that it leaves, allowing you to use this sorcery to clear tightly packed groups. As for Star Shower, it will require 24 intelligence and cost 23 FP per cast. Boosted by Lusat's Glintstone Crown, this summons 6 shooting stars that track your target. The sorcery is also chargeable, and the tracking is fantastic. While the damage is relatively low in the early to mid game, the sorcery can be utilized rather well for mounted combat. Within the same room as the scroll, we'll find a chest hiding behind a table near the southern wall. Inside will be the Glintstone Craftsman's Cookbook 5. On the eastern wall, the empty central bookcase is an illusory wall, and heading through, we'll take a left, jumping over the balcony. Following the pathway up the rocks, we'll find the Olivinus Glintstone Crown, which gives 3 points to your intelligence with a trade-off of 10% reduced HP. Back at the Grace, we'll take the path to the right this time, and clear out all the sorcerers we can find. In the room at the end of the hall with the large living jar, loot the chest to the south to receive a ritual pot. Progress up the stairs and defeat the remaining sorcerers. After clearing the room, head up either staircase to make your way towards the boss door. Before we enter, take a look to your north to discover another illusory wall disguised as an empty bookcase. Heading through, we'll find a secret library with a chest containing the sorcery Comet. This powerful spell will require a whopping 52 intelligence and cost 24 FP per cast. Boosted by Azur's Glintstone Crown, this can be charged, chain cast, and cast while in motion. Though expensive, this pierces through enemies and deals substantial damage, securing it as a very strong sorcery in its own right. Back in the library, you'll find a stone sword key behind the desk and a ladder to climb in the northwest corner. Top the ladder, head to the east wall, and hop the banister. Enter the opening and drop down the hole to enter a room with a bunch of crystals. Resting against the cluster of crystals, you'll find the Graven-School Talisman, which will increase the damage of all sorceries by 4%. And head back up the staircases to finally enter the boss room and face off against the Red Wolf of Radagon. This boss fight has a lot going on, as the wolf knows a good deal of sorceries, and is rather quick. But once you relieve the good boy of his duties, you'll receive a memory stone and the debate parlor site of grace to rest at. Exiting the debate parlor, make a sharp right and head beyond the building wall to a railing, which we will jump over and climb the ladder ahead. Entering the broken glass, we'll take a right to find a chest. Within it, you'll find a legendary talisman, the Radagon Icon. This talisman will shorten the cast time of your spells. To save time and honestly make explaining this a bit easier, here's the numbers related to cast time reduction, as well as what aspect of casting is reduced. Essentially, equipping this talisman provides around 40% of the maximum spell cast time reduction. Leaving through the opening up top, defeat the sorcerer and drop down to the steps below. Up the stairs, you'll find a sorcerer and some more living jars. Clear the landing, and in the corner where the sorcerer was will be a cracked pot to loot. Back at the base of the stairs, we'll head north through the courtyard, and to the left, another Iron Virgin will make an appearance. Dismantle the machine, and go under the archway it came from to find a small golden tree and another golden seed. Southwest from the tree, around the corner, hiding in the bushes, you'll find a glintstone crab. Once defeated, you'll receive the Karolos Glintstone Crown, which will give 3 points in intelligence at the cost of 9% of your stamina. Returning to the courtyard entrance, we'll go west and up the rubble, from past the nobles and into the small room to face a sorcerer in some tight quarters. After the dust settles, resting on a corpse hanging off the balcony will be the Glintstone Whetblade, which will allow you to customize Ashes of War with the magic or cold affinities. Back outside the small room, deal with the pair of sorcerers on the upper landing and jump over the balcony to the west. Turn around and deal with the sorcerer and open the door they were guarding. Go back up the steps and push ahead to the next balcony, defeat the sorcerer, and jump over the railing with a corpse hanging over it to access the rooftops. From here, clear the Marionettes and climb the ladder. Atop, you'll reach a bridge with 3 Avionettes and a sorcerer who casts Shard Spiral and Swift Glintstone Shard. Eliminate them and wrap around the tower to the right. Drop down twice and turn west. From this rooftop, you'll have to make a far jump, so make sure you aren't bearing a heavy load. Clear the gap, halt the ambushing Avionette, and make a left. Progress along the rooftops and into a tower where 2 more Marionettes will attack. Once it's safe, climb the ladder and open the chest atop to receive the Full Moon Crossbow. This crossbow deals primarily magic damage and can be paired with meteor bolts, sold by the merchant we visited earlier out front, for a massive damage boost. From the top of the tower, exit to the west and jump down to find yourself standing back on the rooftop before we jump the gap. Heading back over the gap, this time we'll go straight and take a right. Be prepared for the Avionette near the tower and jump over. Drop down the opening to the wooden platform, and on the second one, you'll find another Glintstone Crab. This one will drop the Lazuli Glintstone Crown, which gives 3 points to both intelligence and dexterity, but at a cost of 18% reduced HP. Finish dropping down the tower, exit to your left, and climb the ladder leading back to the rooftops. Walk across the thin roof to the south to find a corpse holding an Imbued Sword Key, which can be used to unlock one of the portals at the 4 belfries. Head back towards the ladder and jump across to the rooftop of the Church of the Cuckoo. Go around the right side and enter the second window. Drop down onto the chandelier to find a second Academy Glintstone Key. This is used to complete Thops questline, and I'll put a link to my video for that in the description. Drop down onto the bridge and head to the east, outside the church. On the other side of the scaffolding will be the final Glintstone Crab. This crustacean will drop the Twinsage Glintstone Crown, which grants 6 points to intelligence, but with a 9% detriment to both your HP and stamina. Back inside, head north to find another exit to the east. At the end of the corridor, defeat the High Page and head into the connected tower. Resting against the dead school of Graven Mages will be Azur's Glintstone Staff. Requiring 52 intelligence to wield, this staff will reduce the cast time of your spells when equipped. Much like with the Glintstone Crowns, there is a drawback. Using the staff will increase the cost of all sorceries cast by around 20%, so be sure to pump up your mind before using this. Head back to the church and cross a small bridge. Turn to your right to find a corpse with the sorcery Shattering Crystal. Requiring 38 intelligence and costing 21 FP per cast, this Crystallian sorcery is boosted by the Crystal Staff and the Rotten Crystal Staff. While shotgun-style sorceries are generally lackluster, this is one of the better ones, especially when used against a large enemy to connect a hit with every shard. From this point, we can head back to the Debate Parlor site of Grace and push on to our last items in this dungeon. Exiting the courtyard, stay to the right of the fountain, and jump onto one of the beams connecting the bridge to the east. To avoid an Indiana Jones situation, go across to the right side of the bridge and move to the left after the ball has passed. Through the building, you'll enter another small courtyard where you'll meet Moongrum, the Carian Knight. Do not take him lightly, or he will quickly humble you with a parry and a riposte, sending you right back to Grace. Once defeated, you receive the Carian Knight Shield, which is one of the best medium shields in the game thanks to its 100% physical guard and very high magic and holy guard. From this small courtyard, go south, through the enclosed bridge, and open the door. On your way back, before entering the courtyard, head east behind the bushes to find a ledge to jump over to. Before climbing the ladder, Open the door in that room for easy access, and then head on up. At the top, you'll see a pumpkin head and some sorcerers in front of you, but there's also one sorcerer hiding behind you, so be prepared. Once you've cleared the floor, the giant balls will no longer spawn, and you'll find a chest to the north containing the Glintstone Scarab. Equipping this unique helmet will reduce the cost of all sorceries by around 15%, but for a trade-off of 5% increased damage taken. With your final item looted, you can jump off the balcony to land near a portal, which can take you to the Church of Vows if you activate it. Returning to the small courtyard, to the west will be the lift that brings you straight up to your fight with Rennala, Queen of the Full Moon. And once she's felled, you'll have received all the major loot from Raya Lucaria Academy. While this was a long one, I hope this video has been helpful for you, and if it has, please leave a like or a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date on all of my upcoming Elden Ring content. Once again, I'm StoneBear13, and thank you for watching.